My name is Diaz Woodard, and today we kicked off the 2023 IMU Tour, which is a speaking tour to inspire the students of the City of York and York City School District. And we have 4 dates that we'll be traveling around, going from school to school, and pretty much just inspiring the youth, having some transparency, allow them to realize that the things they're going through are not exclusive to them, and that you have individuals right in your community that have not only experienced some of the things that you experienced, but they've transcended it and they've become great figures for the city. So we just really want to inspire the students, show them some transparency, and help them to realize that not only are they us, but we're them as well. So IMU 2023.
This is something that we have not done before. This is a program. It's called our IMU program. And we have some wonderful guests from our community here to speak with you today.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I said good morning, everybody. Hey man, I want to start this thing off with a little energy. Can you put that on lightly for me, please? Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here because these are my schools. You had been my kids for so long, and I appreciate we were able to gather like this and come together just a little bit more. Dr. Berry, thank you for coming. Diaz, this is for you, brother. I apologize in advance. But can I talk to these kids? Can I really talk to them? And if I get myself in trouble and I never get invited back here to speak, it's okay. Because I'm here today, and nobody can do anything about that. No matter what's happening around us, no matter what distractions have tried to stop us all from being here today, I just want to take a second. I just want to ask for a minute of your time. And with that time, we're going to make this an intimate space, a sacred space where it's okay to share. Because today, you're going to hear from some incredible individuals with incredible stories. Stories from adults who were kids just like you. Kids from similar circumstances. Kids who walked these same streets. Kids who overcame issue after issue to become the adults you're going to meet today. So when you're listening, I want you to look past the adult that you see in front of you. Look past the badge, past the bio, past the title before their name, and hear the heart of the kid they were yesterday. Kids who were arrested. Kids who survived abuse, kids who lived through homelessness, kids who were held back and handicapped by labels, kids who grew up without the support of caring parents, kids who had to pay their own bills and fend for themselves, kids who went to school hungry, kids who lost brothers right here in these streets, kids who were picked on because of the way they spoke, kids who thought they were too short, too fat, too black, too foreign, too female, too ugly, too different, too poor, too gay, too bad, too broken, or too insignificant to do big things. Kids who bought into the hype and believed what the world was trying to tell them, that greatness isn't for kids, for people like us. Kids who made mistakes and made bad choices. Kids who fell down or got knocked down. But listen because here's the good part. Kids that one day decided they weren't going to buy into that noise any longer. Kids who didn't want to stay a statistic. And with the help of a few good people, a well-placed prayer, and a timely opportunity, decided to stand back up. Kids who decided to open their eyes and see what was out there for them if they just did their part and tried a little bit harder. Kids who dared to dream that better was possible. Kids who finally started understanding the power, purpose, and potential they had inside if they just allowed themselves to believe. I mean, truly believe that it was possible. Listen, The world's not always going to say nice things about you. So you got to learn to say nice things about yourself. Things like I'm capable, I'm good enough, I'm more than they ever imagined. Saying it and allowing yourself to really start believing it. And I believe every kid in this room today, every young person under the sound of my voice has what it takes to stand up, has what it takes to move forward, has what it takes to be the next incredible story, the next person from right here in these streets to go on and do big things. Kids who are built to overcome odds, kids who see what they want, know what we need, and are willing to say 3 simple words: why not me? And I'm here to challenge you today. Why can't that be you? Teachers have come from this community. Doctors have come from this community. Lawyers have come from right here in these same streets. Coaches, athletes, artists, actors, accountants, mayors, musicians, and millionaires. Pilots, principals, hospital vice presidents, doctors, directors, superintendents, and CEOs. People that look just like you. See, they call me Commissioner Muldrow now, but I grew up right out west. I've been suspended, I've been arrested, and I failed at times in school, in relationships, and in life. But I held on and graduated from York High, your York High. And when life sent me my opportunity, I took it and ran from there. I learned to push. I committed myself, focusing on respect, relationships, and trying to treat people well. And I made sure above all else, I kept my reputation clean. So no matter what conversations my name came up in, whether I was in a room or not, I knew one thing: my story was being told well. And today, that same little kid from Locust Street, Tom and Linda's baby boy, has been both a chief and commissioner before 50, has had hundreds of people work for me, has started more careers, gave more chances, and created more opportunities than I can count. That same kid with just a York High diploma and a Little Hack education is now responsible for a $20 million budget and works with the governor, helping to make decisions on crime throughout this whole state. Now he's meeting with millionaires every week, and in this life has had the privilege of helping thousands upon thousands of adults, kids, and families. And like these great people you're going to hear from today, I'm an example of what a kid from York can do with just a little opportunity. I'm the product of hope, hard work, praying parents, and the love of an incredible community that never lets me fall too far. My story has highs, my story has lows. My name is Michael Muldrow, York City born and bred, and every day, in every way, I'm proud of where I come from. I'm thankful for what I've been through. I'm a product of my environment. And just like all of them who are here today, I'm here to say I am flawed, but I am favored. I am worthy. I am significant. I am destined for greatness. And I am you. I am you. I am you. Thank you for having me today.
Wow. Thank you, Muldrow, for being a brother, a mentor, strong leader in our community, and you've encouraged me so much. A lot of you guys may not know me. I'm not big on public speaking. I'm usually the one that's in the background orchestrating. I like to create. This whole idea came out of my cell phone. A couple years ago, just jotting down notes on my phone. I was in a place where I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I was just jotting down ideas, just things that I thought that eventually would be able to produce additional income, and then after a while, it started to become passion projects, just things that I felt like would impact the community. And as I walk around the city of York, I've worked in the Children's Home of York, I've worked in York City School District, and I'm currently the recreation specialist for the city. But I constantly walk around the city. I'm in and out of classrooms and schools, and when I look at the kids that I see myself. So the idea of the I Am You tour was birthed pretty much by watching you guys and realizing that it was very important for the kids in the community to see leaders that look like themselves, that represent themselves, that have been through some of the same struggles that you guys are going through, whether you're expressing them, whether you're telling them to your friends, or whether you're keeping them inside. I thought it was important for you guys to see people that look like you. So you see me here today. Again, I work in City Hall. I have a fancy little office, and I get to rub elbows with the commissioner and sit in rooms with people that are millionaires, but I have very humble beginnings. I grew up on the south side of York, Duke Street, Duke and Maple, South Side kid, born and raised. Around 6 years old, a big change happened in our community, and it was called the crack epidemic. So all of us, all the kids in my community who were typically used to seeing their parents every single day, come home from school, your family's there. We went from seeing our parents every day to raising ourselves. All the parents were wiped out of the homes, and we were kind of left there to fend for ourselves. So I always make the joke that York City School District has never seen my mom's signature, because I've been signing my own report card since I was in first grade. I was a kid, I've never been to a parent-teacher conference. I've owned one bike my whole life, never had a game system. I didn't get my own bedroom until I was 17 years old. So when I say humble beginnings, I come from humble beginnings. If I would go back a little bit, so like I said, 8 years old, crack epidemic hits, parents are removed, we're fending for ourselves. York City School District classrooms became my safe haven. Only place I knew that I was guaranteed to get a meal, I was guaranteed to speak to an adult that cared, was in these schools. We'll fast forward to 11 years old. Around 11 years old, I was sexually abused. It was interesting because it wasn't presented to me as a bad act. It was presented to me as something that people that loved you do. So I kept it a secret, never discussed it, never talked about it. 8th grade, I decided that I wanted to express it to my family. I talked to my family about it, and it became it blew up. Family separated, everybody was in denial, nobody wanted to talk about it. At that time, you were able to sign yourself up for therapy. So I was a track star. I ran track and I danced, so I decided that I was gonna go to therapy. So I signed myself up for therapy at 13. Every day I would go to track practice. My mom thought I was going to track practice, but I was going to therapy. My parents never knew I went to therapy. I went to therapy for 2 years. When I graduated, I invited them to my graduation. That was my first time actually, I can say, taking control of my life. That was the first time that I actually decided that all the things that were going on around me, I wasn't going to allow them to interfere with who I knew I was becoming on the inside. At 15, it actually became public knowledge that I was sexually abused. And you know what was even more embarrassing about that? Is that the news covered it. So they didn't disclose who I was, but the person who sexually abused me was in the newspaper. So it met all my community to speculate. So I'm walking through the high school halls and I have people whispering and they're talking, because people know the relationship, they know the connection. But even still, I walked through with my head held high and I continued to trudge forward. 16, I started my first job mentoring. I did that for 2 years. 18, I started working for the Children's Home of York. That was my first real live mentoring job, working with kids that have been mentally, sexually, physically abused. Along the way, I still have my trauma. I still had things that were eating me up on the inside, but again, I continued to trudge forward, and I found my worth in helping people around me. People that, again, looked like me, people that were going through some of the same struggles and maybe didn't have the courage or the endurance to trudge through it. 19, graduated from high school, on my way to college, and my girlfriend ends up pregnant. So, not only is she ended up pregnant, she's pregnant with twins. So now, I've graduated, but now I'm 19 years old and I'm thrusted into parenthood. So, I continued to work for the Children's Home of York. I worked there for 10 years. I never finished college. I withdrew because for me, it was more important for my kids to have health insurance than it was for me to have a college education. I remember I was in college and I needed 120 credits to graduate, and I had 92. And my senior year, my advisor comes to me and she tells me, I need you to do an internship. So I'm like, okay. And she's like, but your internship, it needs to be 40 hours. I'm like, well, I work full time. She's like, well, I need you to do this internship or you can't graduate. So I had to decide between providing my kids with health insurance, which I already had at the job I was at, or finishing my degree. So I chose to provide my kids with health insurance and to make sure that I could solidify my future so that way they could have a brighter future than me. So I withdrew from school. So for Children's Home of York, I ended up sitting in the classroom, and we had some kids that were having behavior problems. They were having behavior problems in school, so they sent me into the school to sit with the kid. So I started sitting with the kid, and one day the teacher says to me, she says, you know, what you're doing here for Children's Home of York, you could work for the New York City School District and do this, and they'll pay you more. So I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, they'll pay you more, and there's benefits included, so why don't you do that? So I applied for New York City School District. They ended up hiring me. I ended up going to New York City School District. I was there in special ed as a teacher's aide. Started off as a paraprofessional, then ended up being a teacher's aide, and I worked in the New York City School District for 10 years, working with kids in emotional support classes. One day, after 10 years, I'm in emotional support class, I'm checking my emails, I get this random email. It's from the city of York, but it's not addressed to me. But I read the email, and it's a job description. And I'm like, I think I can do that. So I respond to the email. I'm like, hey, I don't think this email's for me, but could I apply? And they're like, well, do you have a degree? I'm like, no, I don't have a degree. I have experience. So they're like, okay, well, apply. Lo and behold, step out on faith, I apply for the role, get an interview, I get hired. So I transitioned from New York City School District to the City of York as a park and recreation specialist. I watered down my story a lot just to kind of show you my progression through life. There's plenty of things that I could have told you today that could have had you in tears, that could have had you feeling sorry for me, like, oh my God, I can't believe he experienced that, he went through that. But that wasn't my goal. My goal was to show you how you can still move through trauma, move through traumatic situations and become something positive and productive. You decide your destiny. You decide what happens to your life. There's going to be times where things you cannot control, but the things that you can control, control them. Control them. I believe in every last one of you in this room. You guys are the next generation of lawyers, teachers, educators, city hall workers, commissioners, recreation specialists. You're the next generation. And if we don't inspire you, then what do we have to look forward to? So I come to you today as a City of York resident, as a young man who's been through the trials and tribulations of life and who's transcended it and made it to the other side, the same way I believe you can. So if you leave here with anything today, out of all the individuals you're going to hear from today, listen to their stories, resonate with their stories. If it's not true, there's somebody around you who's had a similar experience. Take in what you can take in, get rid of what doesn't matter to you, and work hard and diligently every single day to become the best individual that you can be. Because you are me, I am you. Thank you. So with that being said, can we go, do you want to rock? Can anybody dance? Y'all can't dance. This ain't what you want.
Turn them up, D.
Where my dancers at?
Ain't ready.
Hey, where you at? I know one of y'all can rock. Before we transition, I know one of y'all can rock for me.
They are not ready.
I got cash for whoever can rock. Hey, where you at? I got $20 for the best dancer. Y'all scared? Hey, 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 hey.
Get all their names. I'm gonna buy them lunch later.